Hello everyone, I am Mohammad Kamran Halil. Once again, I am here in order to explain you the complete working related with the A-level 9702 MCQ paper October-November 2024 variant 1-3. So for question number 1, he is asking that what is meant by a physical quantity. A physical quantity is a quantity which consists of two things. Number one, it consists of the magnitude, and number two, it consists of a unit. So option D is the valid option. Then in order to calculate the question number two, that what is the reasonable estimation, I will make it a bit enlarged. What is the reasonable estimation of the mass of a solid sphere of copper that has a diameter of 60 centimeters? First of all, we will convert diameter into radius divided by 2, we will get 30, and then centimeter will be converted into meter. So conversion is very much required. The density of the copper, you have to remember this, it is around 9,000. The exact value is 8960. So, and rounded off value, you have to remember this because we will use this value in order to estimation the mass. And then the radius we already have. The volume of the sphere is 4 by 3 pi r cube, which is equal to 0.11309. Now what we will do, I will calculate the density by using each value related with the mass. First of all, I will substitute 0.1 and divided it by the volume. I will get the answer 0.88. This is not the density of the copper. Then I will substitute mass equal to 10 and volume equal to this one. I will get the value 88.425. This is not the value related with the density, which is around 8960 or around 9000. Then I will substitute the third value. So for mass, I will substitute 1000, and then for the volume, which I have already calculated, 0.11309. Then I will get the answer 8842. So option C is the valid option. In order to calculate the unit for the sigma, I have to make the power and A and T4 in this way, that power over A T power 4. Now power is energy over time. Energy, that is equal to kg m square s minus 2. Time is second. So this is the unit of the power, kg m square s minus 3. Just substitute these units. Meter square will cut out by the meter square, and then I will get option B. Now question number 4. A ball is thrown. A boy throws a stone with a horizontal velocity 10. So this is a projectile motion. This is a horizontal velocity. So whenever an object will travel a distance along its vertical vertical direction and the time is required, then what we will do, we will use the second equation of motion as equal to ut plus half gt square, because the initial velocity at the time of the launch for the vertical component is 0. So we will use straightforward equation as equal to 1 by 2 gt square. Substitute the values and then we will get 1.277, and then at the end we will get answer 1.3 second. I will save this so that if anyone wants this PDF, then I can share that PDF as well. So now the next question is that four cuboids with identical length, breadth and height are immersed in the water, but they have the different density. Now this question is related with the upthrust. Upthrust is the F that is equal to rho GV. What is the reason of the upthrust? The reason of the upthrust is that the difference of the pressure at the bottom surface and at the top surface, because they are immersed in the same height. So the upthrust is independent of the density of the cuboids. So the upthrust for all these four will be same. So question number 5, option A is the valid option. Now question number 6, that which one is not in an equilibrium. For equilibrium, there must be constant speed and the object must travel in a straight line. So only the option C is contradict with this statement related with the equilibrium. A speedboat changes direction, so it will not remain in equilibrium. Question number 7, two identical balls are projected vertically upward from the ground level with the same initial velocity. Their initial velocity is same, so ball X is in the vacuum, so it means that it will travel more distance as compared to the ball Y in air. So ball X reaches a greater maximum height in a longer time, because at that time without air resistance it has less acceleration, so it will take more time. Initial velocities are the same for X and Y. The acceleration of X will be less due to the absence of the air resistance. This is the key point which you have to keep in your mind. Now this question is related with the excuse me, this question is related with the velocity time graph, and this curve will represent the decreasing gradient. So decreasing gradient means that the acceleration is decreasing as well. So acceleration in air was decreasing with increasing time. So for question number 8, straightforward option B is the valid option. Now question number 9. The definition of the force we have to memorize that. The force is the rate of change of momentum. So change in momentum is 4 minus 1 into 10 raised power 4 over 20. But in this question he is asked that what is the value of the force at time t equal to 10 seconds. Look, the gradient is constant. So the force at this point, wherever you will calculate the force, the magnitude of the force will remain same. So I will apply the gradient formula related with this, convert the power into 10 power 4, then I will get the answer 1500 Newton. After that, question number 10, two objects X and Y form an isolated system. X and Y collide and then separate. So whenever the two objects will collide with each other, the time of contact till which they will apply force on each other will remain same. It means that they will apply the same force when they will having head-on collision. So the forces that X and Y exert on each other for the same length of the time. So that is the correct statement related with the collision. So option C is the valid option. Question number 11. So you have to memorize the properties that for the elastic collision, the total momentum will conserve and total kinetic energy will conserve. But for inelastic collision, the kinetic energy will not conserve, but momentum will conserve. Now again, the next question is related with the tennis ball is thrown vertically upward. The tennis ball reaches its highest point at this point and then fall back to the point from where it was thrown. Okay, so the initial and final point will be same, but air resistance is significant. He is asking at which position the path of the tennis ball is reached when the force is the greatest. The drag force varies with velocity. Okay, that is fine. So this can be the reason that the highest drag will occurs only when the ball is moving fastest, and ball is moving fastest when it is just released from your hand. So at the start of the just after the tennis ball is released, the force will be greatest. So for question number 12, option A is the valid option. So the next question is related with the couple. The couple is the when two identical forces will act on an object in opposite direction. So it will give you a rotation just like a steering wheel of a car. So option D is the valid option. Now question number 14, that is related with the law of conservation of moment. The sum of clockwise moment is equal to sum of anti-clockwise moment. The only thing is required that you have to calculate the distance of center of gravity from pivot, which is 0.1, because from this is 0.3 and this up till this point is 0.4. So the leftover distance will be 0.1. So this one up till this point it is 0.4 and then this is 0.3. It means that this is 0.1. So sum of clockwise movement, this is the anti-clockwise movement and this is clockwise movement. He is saying that this system is not in equilibrium. So we will calculate the value of the clockwise movement by converting mass into force. So multiply 3 by 9.81 and then you will apply the formula. The clockwise moment is 8.829. The anti-clockwise moment is 11.6739. When you will subtract these two, you will get 2.84. So the correct option is option D. Then after that, the question is 15. So he is saying that which objects are in equilibrium. In diagram 1, 20 Newton force will rotate this in clockwise direction. 10 Newton will rotate this in anti-clockwise. Because 20 Newton is greater and 10 Newton is smaller, overall the forces are same, but it will give you a rotational effect. so it will move in a clockwise direction. So this is not in equilibrium. Similarly, for the question diagram number 2, so option this is invalid because that contain P. For this, the resultant force is 20 because it is acting in upper direction and 60 is acting in downward. So resultant force will be 20. And when you will calculate the resultant force, then it will move in upper direction. So for equilibrium, it will not satisfy this condition. So Q is also invalid. Only option left is the option D. None of these will be in equilibrium. Now question number 16, the distance traveled. Now these are the questions related with the manometer. The manometer is no more in the O-levels syllabus. The both end of the tube are open. So it means that pressure on the left hand side of the tube is equal to the pressure on the right hand side of the tube. Now for the P, the distance traveled is 2x, and for Q, the distance traveled is x. The pressure in liquid is equal to P, that is equal to rho gh. So I will make subject for the liquid P, the density as the subject. Why I will make this? Because I require density ratio. So density of P, that is equal to pressure over 2x into G, and density of Q, that is equal to P over Gx. So I will substitute this value in the expression, then I will get answer which is equal to 1 by 2. That will make you the option A is the valid option. Now this question is again related with the kinematics. So energy is also involved. He's saying that a stone is thrown from this point, and when it will hit with the ground, what will be its kinetic energy? So in order to calculate the kinetic energy, I must have the final velocity, which is v. So I will use the third equation of motion, 2as equal to v square minus u square. So then I will get final velocity, which is equal to 635.44. I will apply the formula for the kinetic energy, half mv square, then I will get answer which is equal to 95 joules. So option D is valid option. Question number 18, a boy is running stairs by two different methods. Number one, he is walking up to the stairs, and then he is running up to the stairs. So in which case he will consume more energy when he will run up to the stairs. So he will consume more power. So by according this concept, the option C, running provides the same gravitational potential energy and use more power because height is not changing. The stairs will remain same. Whether you are walking up to the first floor of your home or you are running up to the first floor of your home, the height will remain same. Now question number 19, this question is also related with the O-levels, that the definition of the work done is required, that it is the force and the distance traveled in the direction of applied force, because it is moving the final position of the weight is this and the initial position of the weight is this and final is this. It means that this is the final and this is the initial. There is change in the height. So the distance traveled will be Q. So W into Q will be the valid option. So for question number 20, the derivation of the kinetic energy, will start derivation from 2s equal to v square minus u square. We will consider initial velocity is equal to 0. Then acceleration is replaced by f by m. Then f into s, that is equal to work done. So we will use equation number 1, equation number 2, equation number 3. We will not use the power expression in order to derive the kinetic energy. So option A is the valid option. So now Hooke's law, a straightforward question, that the point till which the load and extension will be proportional to each other. So option A is the valid option. Repeated question. Now in this question 22, the volume is required. The formula for the volume is area into length. Now we will calculate the area. So the other things are given is the force is not given, but Young's modulus is given. So we will rearrange the Young modulus, which is equal to F over X. Now Young's modulus E, that is equal to FL over AE. Make A as subject. So substitute F over X, that is equal to Young's modulus. Calculate the value. The area is this, 4.98 into 10 to the power minus 7, and multiply it by the length. You will get your destination, which is D. Now question number 23. He is asking that what is the shaded region represent. It is not asking that what is the this region represent. If he is asking about the this region, this will represent the energy stored. But whenever the shaded region is given, then this will represent that there is the wastage of the energy. Stretching curve and the area under the contraction curve must represent the energy loss. So this is the reason that option B is the energy will dissipated whenever the inner side of the curve is required, that what it will represent. Then the next question is Doppler effect. The Doppler effect shows that there is a relative change in the velocity, there is a relative change in the frequency when the object will move towards or away from the observer. So when the source is moving towards the observer, then we will use the negative sign. It means that overall velocity will decrease, so frequency will increase. But in this we are required the lowest frequency. So lowest frequency means that object must move away from the observer. So option A is invalid, option B is invalid, so option C and D. Now C is also invalid because it will not give the larger number. Larger number will be by this. So there is more change in the velocity. V plus Vs give you the larger number, and then it means that frequency will be lowest. So option D is the valid option. For question 25, you have to remember this value. Ultraviolet lies within the 10 raised to power minus 8 meter. Now question number 26. We will not convert millimeter into meter because answer is required in meter. From frequency, we will calculate the time period 0.0666. Now the amplitude is 4. Now how can we calculate the time period that when it will move from the equilibrium position in upward direction, then to the equilibrium position, then in the opposite direction, then again in the equilibrium position. So there are 4 segments in one time period. For one segment the distance traveled is 4, and then for the 4th segment the distance traveled is 16 centimeter vertically along y-axis. Now we will use the unit method that for this time this distance is traveled, for 0.5 how much distance is traveled, then we will get answer 120. Now this is the question related to the graph. Along x-axis there is time labeled, so it means that the x-axis will represent the time period. So that is a straightforward question. The x and y represent a complete time period for a wave. So option C is the valid option. A stationary wave, then for the stationary wave, the distance between 3 consecutive antinodes will give you the wavelength, or the distance between 3 consecutive nodes will give you the wavelength. So we will double the distance between 2 adjacent antinodes will give us the wavelength. For example, antinode and antinode have a distance of 4 centimeter, and then we will multiply by 2, then we will get 8. So option A is the valid option. Now for question number 29. This is a very good question. First of all, what is required? We will calculate x. We will apply the formula lambda, that is equal to ax by d, but lambda is not given directly. So we will calculate lambda by using expression v equal to f lambda. So we will calculate the wavelength, and then after that the wavelength is 2 into 10 raised to power minus 4. Then we will calculate x. So x is equal to 0.01 meter. Now he is saying, now how you will proceed further. He is saying that the reading is the maximum at the midpoint. It means that at the midpoint there is a maximum. Now he is saying that 2 and the third one, yeah. So there are 3 minima and 2 maxima. So we will mark 3 minima and 2 maxima. So 1 maxima, we have to mark the 3 minima in any way. Minima, then minima, then minima. So 3 minima. Now the maxima to maxima will represent x. Then maxima to maxima represent x. Maxima to minima represent x by 2. So total 2.5x distance will travel, and for 1x the distance is 0.01. We will multiply it 0.025. That is the distance traveled in meter. Then we will convert into millimeter 25. The wavelength and the diffraction are proportional to each other, but wavelength and frequency are inversely proportional. So increasing diffraction means greater wavelength means less frequency the wave must have. So option B is the valid option. So what is an electric current? That is the definition. Electric current is the rate of flow of charge carriers. So now the next question is 32. We will use the formula NAQV, NAQV equal to I So a wire has a diameter this and speed this. So for the wire, what will be the expression? Pi d square by 4, because area equal to pi r square, or pi d square by 4 because the diameter is given. For the new wire, the current is in, n into pi. The quick n a, sorry, this is a n a cube. Okay, that is the pi for the area. So now the new diameter is 0.5 d square over 4. So it will become d square over 16. And then the velocity is 3v. Now we will find the ratio in over I, and then it will become 3 by 4, and then I will get answer 3 by 4, which is equal to 0.75 I. So 0.5 square over 4 and 1 over 16 are same. So you can use the calculator in order to calculate this as well. Now the next question is related with the what will be the graph for the combination of the diode and the fixed resistor. For the fixed resistor, the graph is a straight line, and for the diode, the voltage barrier, it will not start from the origin. Just after passing to the potential barrier, the current will start increasing. So by combining these two, we will get answer A. Then question number 34, the potential difference in the resistor is V, power dissipated is 5, and then the next one is, from here I will get the new power, which is 20 watt. So what is the new PD across the resistor? So when the power was 5, the PD was V. When the power is 20 watt, what is the new voltage? So I have solved this question over here. So now the formula for the resistance is constant, power and voltage are given. So P hat is equal to V square over R. Now resistance is constant, so P and V square are proportional to each other. So P1 over V2 and P2 over Vx square. So now I want to calculate the value of V, and then I will get 2V. Just rearrange the expression, use the values, substitute the values, and you will get your answer. Vx, that is equal to 2 into V. So option B is the value which is required. So now this is the potentiometer. Potentiometer is a null method. So for the null method, the strongest candidate correctly identified that for this null method, the current I2 must be 0. So option B is the valid option. This is called the null method because when you will place the wire at this point by using the galvanometer, it will give you some deflection. And when you will move the slider, then when the current on the two branches will equal to each other, or when the current I2 will be equal, then it will give you the zero reading, null reading. This is the reason this is called as the null method. Now for question number 36, the diagram shows that this is a circuit that which one is not correct. When the switch is open, the voltmeter measures the EMF of the cell. This is not possible. If you want to calculate the value of the EMF of the cell, you have to apply the voltmeter across parallel to the cell or the battery. So option D is the valid option. And then now the next question, that this requires some calculation. Which expression where E is in volt and R is give the internal resistance? Now R, that is equal to V over I. We are required to calculate the total current. Now the total current is passing 0.8 here. This is the same resistance, so 0.8 current over here. The total current going back to the battery is 1.6 ampere. Now if I will calculate the value of the voltage for this, so this voltage will become V equal to IR 2.0 volt. So now total voltage was E. Some of the voltage will drop over here and the leftover will go over there. So E minus 2 over 1.6. So option C is the valid option. And the mass of the electron, the mass of the beta particle, the mass of the beta negative, the mass of the positron, that will all remain same. That is 9.11, 10 is power minus 31. Which group contains the mesons and the group contains the baryons. They both belong to hadrons. These are the particles which are affected by the strong nuclear forces. And now for the question number 40, a magnesium nucleus 12, 23, by emitting two particles 11, and then now there is no change in the mass, so it means that there will be a 0 over here, and in order to make the proton number same on both sides, 11 plus 1, and this one will be the beta positive. And always remember that with the beta positive, the neutrino will emit it. Okay, stay tuned for the more videos. Thank you very much. Take care.